Genesis chapter 48. And it came to pass after these things that one told Joseph, Behold, your father is sick. And he took with him his two sons, Manasseh and Ephraim. And one told Jacob and said, Behold, your son Joseph comes to you. And Israel strengthened himself and sat upon the bed. And Jacob said to Joseph, El Shaddai appeared to me at Luz in the land of Canaan and blessed me, and said to me, Behold, I will make you fruitful and multiply you, and I will make of you a multitude of people, and will give this land to your seed after you for an everlasting possession. And now your two sons, Ephraim and Manasseh, which were born to you in the land of Egypt before I came to you to Egypt, are mine. As Reuben and Simeon, they shall be mine. And your issue, which you beget after them, shall be yours, and shall be called after the name of their brethren in their inheritance. And as for me, when I came from Padan, Rachel died by me in the land of Canaan in the way, when yet there was but a little way to come to Ephrath, and I buried her there in the way of Ephrath. The same is Bethlehem. And Israel beheld Joseph's sons, and said, Who are these? And Joseph said to his father, They are my sons, whom Yahweh has given me in this place. And he said, Bring them, I ask you, to me, and I will bless them. Now the eyes of Israel were dim for age, so that he could not see. And he brought them near to him, and he kissed them and embraced them. And Israel said to Joseph, I had not thought to see your face, and lo, Yahweh has showed me also your seed. And Joseph brought them out from between his knees, and he bowed himself with his face to the earth. And Joseph took them both, Ephraim in his right hand toward Israel's left hand, and Manasseh in his left hand toward Israel's right hand, and brought them near to him. And Israel stretched out his right hand, and laid it upon Ephraim's head, who was the younger, and his left hand upon Manasseh's head, guiding his hands wittingly, for Manasseh was the firstborn. And he blessed Joseph, and said, Yahweh, before whom my fathers Abraham and Isaac did walk, the Elohim which fed me all my life long to this day, the messenger which redeemed me from all evil, bless the lads, and let my name be named upon them, and the name of my fathers Abraham and Isaac, and let them grow into a multitude in the midst of the earth. And when Joseph saw that his father laid his right hand upon the head of Ephraim, it displeased him. And he held up his father's hand to remove it from Ephraim's head to Manasseh's head. And Joseph said to his father, Not so, my father, for this is the firstborn. Put your right hand upon his head. And his father refused, and said, I know it, my son, I know it. He also shall become a people, and he also shall be great. But truly his younger brother shall be greater than he, and his seed shall become a multitude of nations. And he blessed them that day, saying, In you shall Israel bless, saying, Yahweh make you as Ephraim and as Manasseh. And he set Ephraim before Manasseh. And Israel said to Joseph, Behold, I die. But Yahweh shall be with you, and bring you again to the land of your fathers. Moreover, I have given to you one portion above your brethren, which I took out of the hand of the Amorite with my sword and with my bow. End of chapter. Ruth, chapter 4. Then Boaz went up to the gate and sat him down there, and behold, the kinsman of whom Boaz spoke came by, to whom he said, Oh, such a one, turn aside, sit down here. And he turned aside, sat down. And he took 10 men of the elders of the city, and said, Sit down here. And they sat down. And he said to the kinsman, Naomi, that is come again out of the country of Moab, sells a parcel of land, which was our brother Elimelech's. And I thought to advertise to you, saying, Buy it before the inhabitants and before the elders of my people. If you will redeem it, redeem it. But if you will not redeem it, then tell me that I may know. For there is none to redeem it except for you, and I am after you. And he said, I will redeem it.
And then said Boaz, What day you buy the field of the hand of Naomi, you must buy it also of Ruth the Moabitess, the wife of the dead, to raise up the name of the dead upon his inheritance. And the kinsman said, I cannot redeem it for myself, lest I mar my own inheritance. Redeem you my right to yourself, for I cannot redeem it. Now this was all the manner of the former time in Israel concerning redeeming and concerning changing, for to confirm all things. A man plucked off his shoe and gave it to his neighbor, and this was a testimony in Israel. Therefore the kinsman said to Boaz, Buy it for yourself. And so he drew off his shoe. And Boaz said to the elders and to all the people, You are witnesses this day that I have bought all that was Elimelech's, and all that was Chilion's and Mahlon's of the hand of Naomi. Moreover, Ruth the Moabitess, the wife of Mahlon, have I purchased to be my wife, to raise up the name of the dead upon his inheritance, that the name of the dead bear not cut off from among his brethren, and from the gate of his place. You are witnesses this day. And all the people that were in the gate, and the elders said, We are witnesses. Yahweh make the woman that is come to your house like Rachel and like Leah, which two did build the house of Israel. And do you worthily in Ephratah, and be famous in Bethlehem. And let your house be like the house of Pharez, whom Tamar bore to Yehudah, of the seed which Yahweh shall give you of this young woman. So Boaz took Ruth, and she was his wife. And when he went in to her, Yahweh gave her conception, and she bore a son. And the woman said to Naomi, Blessed be Yahweh, which has not left you this day without a kinsman, that his name may be famous in Israel. And he shall be to you a restorer of life, and a nourisher of your old age. For your daughter-in-law, which loves you, which is better to you than 7 sons, has borne him. And Naomi took the child, and laid it in her bosom, and became nurse to it. And the woman, her neighbors, gave it a name, saying, There is a son born to Naomi. And they called his name Obed. He is the father of Jesse, the father of David. Now these are the generations of Pharez. Pharez begat Hezron, and Hezron begat Ram, and Ram begat Amminadab, and Amminadab begat Nashon, and Nashon begat Salmon, and Salmon begat Boaz, and Boaz begat Obed, and Obed begat Jesse, and Jesse begat David. End of chapter. First Chronicles, chapter 17. Now it came to pass, as David sat in his house, that David said to Nathan the prophet, I dwell in a house of cedars, but the ark of the covenant of Yahweh under curtains. And then Nathan said to David, Do all that is in your heart, because Yahweh is with you. And it came to pass the same night that the word of Yahweh came to Nathan, saying, Go and tell David my servant, Thus says Yahweh, You will not build me a house to dwell in, because I have not dwelt in a house since the day that I brought up Israel to this day, but have gone from tent to tent, and from tabernacle to tabernacle. Wherever I have walked with all Israel, I spoke a word to any of the judges of Israel, whom I commanded to feed my people, saying, Why have you not built me a house of cedars? Now, therefore, you shall say thus to my servant David, Thus says Yahweh of hosts, I took you from the dwelling place of shepherds, from following the sheep, so that you would be ruler over my people Israel. And I have been with you wherever you've walked, and have cut off all your enemies from before you, and have made you a name like the name of the great men that are in the earth. I will also ordain a place for my people Israel, and will plant them, and they will dwell in their place, and will be moved no more. Neither will the children of wickedness waste them any more, as at the beginning. And since the time that I commanded judges over my people Israel, moreover I will subdue all your enemies. Furthermore, I tell you that Yahweh will build you a house.
And it will come to pass, when your days are expired, that you must go with your forefathers, that I will raise up your seed after you, which will be of your sons, and I will establish his kingdom. He will build me a house, and I will establish his throne forever. I will be his father, and he will be my son, and I will not take my mercy away from him, as I took it from him that was before you. But I will settle him in my house, and in my kingdom forever, and his throne will be established forevermore. According to all these words, and according to all this vision, so did Nathan speak to David. And David the king came and sat before Yahweh, and said, Who am I, O Yahweh Elohim, and what is my house that you've brought me here to this place? And yet this was a small thing in your eyes, O Yahweh, for you've also spoken of your servant's house for a great while to come, and have regarded me according to the estate of a man of high degree, O Yahweh Elohim. What can David speak more to you for the honor of your servant, because you know your servant? O Yahweh, for your servant's sake, and according to your own heart have you done all this greatness, in making known all these great things. Yahweh, there's none like you, neither is there any Elohim beside you, according to all that we've heard with our ears. And what nation in the earth is like your people Israel, whom Yahweh went to redeem, to be his own people, to make you a name of greatness and terribleness, by driving out nations from before your people, whom you've redeemed out of Egypt? For your people, Israel, did you make your own people forever, and you, Yahweh, became their Elohim. Therefore, now, Yahweh, let the thing that you have spoken concerning your servant and concerning his house be established forever, and do as you've said. Let it even be established that your name may be magnified forever, saying, Yahweh of hosts is the Elohim of Israel, and Elohim to Israel, and the house of David your servant established before you. For you, O my Elohim, have told your servant that you will build him a house. Therefore your servant has found to pray before you in his heart. And now, Yahweh, you are Elohim, and have promised this goodness to your servant. Therefore now let it please you to bless the house of your servant, so that it may be before you forever. For you do bless, O Yahweh, and blessed forever. End of chapter.
Isaiah chapter 41. Keep silence before me, O islands, and let the people renew strength. Let them come near, and let them speak. Let us come near together to judgment. Who raised up the righteous from the east, and called him to his foot, and gave the nations before him, and made him rule over kings? He gave them as the dust to his sword, and as driven stubble to his bow. He pursued them, and passed safely, even by the way that he had not gone with his feet. Who has wrought and done it, calling the generations since the beginning? I am Yahweh, the first, and with the last. I am he. The islands saw it, and feared. The ends of the earth were afraid, drew near, and came. Every one of them helped his neighbor, and every one said to his brother, Be of good courage. And so the carpenter encouraged the goldsmith, and he who smoothed with the hammer encouraged he who smote the anvil, saying, It is ready for the soldering. And he fastened it with nails so that it shouldn't be moved. But you, Israel, my servant, Jacob, whom I have chosen, the seed of Abraham, my friend, you whom I have taken from the ends of the earth, and have called you from the chief men of it, and said to you, You are my servant. I have chosen you, and not thrown you away. You are not to fear, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed, for I am your Elohim. I will strengthen you. Yes, I will help you. Yes, I will hold you up with the right hand of my righteousness. Behold, all they that were incensed against you will be ashamed and confounded. They will be like nothing, and they who strive with you will all perish. You will seek for them and will not find them. Even those who contended with you, they who war against you will be like nothing, and as a thing of nothing. For I, Yahweh, your Elohim, will hold your right hand, saying to you, Fear not, I will help you. Fear not, you worm, Jacob, you men of Israel, I will help you, says Yahweh.
and your Redeemer, the Holy One of Israel. Understand, I will make you a new sharp threshing instrument having teeth. You will thresh the mountains, and beat them small, and make the hills like chaff. You will fan them, and the wind will carry them away, and the whirlwind will scatter them. And you will rejoice in Yahweh, and you will boast in the Holy One of Israel. When the poor and needy seek water, and there is none, and their tongue fails for thirst, I, Yahweh, will hear them. I, the Elohim of Israel, will not forsake them. I will open rivers in high places, and fountains in the midst of the valleys. I will make the wilderness a pool of water, and the dry land springs of water. I will plant in the wilderness the cedar, the shittah tree, the myrtle, and the oil tree. I will set in the desert the fir tree, and the pine, and the box tree together, so that they may see and know and consider and understand together that the hand of Yahweh has done this, and the Holy One of Israel has created it. Produce your cause, says Yahweh. Bring forth your strong reasons, says the King of Jacob. Let them bring them forth and show us what will happen. Let them show the former things what they are, so that we may consider them and know the latter end of them, or declare us things for to come. Show the things that are to come hereafter, so that we may know that you are Elohim. Yes, do good, or do evil, so that we may be dismayed and all watch it together. Understand, you are of nothing, and your work is of nothing. An abomination is he who chooses you. I've raised up someone from the north, and he will come. From the rising of the sun will he call upon my name, and he will come upon princes as upon mortar, and as the potter treats clay. Who has declared since the beginning that we may know? And before then, that we may say he is righteous? Yes, there is none that shows. Yes, there is no one that declares. Yes, there is no one that hears your words. The first will say to Zion, Behold, behold them, and I will give to Jerusalem one that brings good tidings. For I watched, and I saw, and there was no man amongst them, and there was no counselor that, when I asked of them, could answer a word. Behold, they are all vanity. Their works are nothing. Their molten images are wind and confusion. End of chapter. Jeremiah chapter 50. This is the word that Yahweh spoke against Babylon, against the land of the Chaldeans, by Jeremiah the prophet. Declare you amongst the nations, and publish and set up a standard. Publish and do not conceal. Say, Babylon is taken, Bel is confounded, Merodach is broken and in pieces. Her idols are confounded, and her images are broken in pieces. For out of the north there comes up a nation against her, which will make her land desolate, and no one will dwell within it. They will leave, and they will depart, both man and beast. In those days and in that time, says Yahweh, the children of Israel will come, they and the children of Yehudah together, going and weeping, and they will go and seek Yahweh their Elohim. And they will ask the way to Zion, with their faces towards that place, saying, Come, and let us join ourselves to Yahweh in a perpetual covenant that will not be forgotten. My people have been lost sheep. Their shepherds have caused them to go astray, and they've turned them away on the mountains, and they've gone from mountain to hill, and they've forgotten their resting place. All who found them have devoured them, and their adversaries have said, We do not offend, because they've sinned against Yahweh, the habitation of justice, even Yahweh, the hope of their fathers. Remove out of the midst of Babylon, and go forth out of the land of the Chaldeans, and be like the he-goats before the flocks. For understand that I will raise and cause to come up against Babylon an assembly of great nations from the north country, and they will set themselves in array against her, and from there will she be taken. Their arrows will be like that of a mighty expert man. None will return in vain. And Chaldea will be a spoil, and all who spoil her will be satisfied, says Yahweh. Because you were glad, because you rejoiced, O you destroyers of my heritage, because you have grown fat like the heifer at grass, and because you bellow like bulls, your mother will be sore confounded. She who bore you will be ashamed. Understand, the hindermost of the nations will be a wilderness, a dry land and a desert. Because of the wrath of Yahweh it will not be inhabited, but it will be wholly desolate. Everyone that goes by Babylon will be astonished and hiss at all her plagues. Put yourselves in array against Babylon round about. All you that bend the bow, shoot at her. Spare no arrows, because she has sinned against Yahweh. Shout against her round about. She has given her hand. Her foundations have fallen. Her walls have been thrown down, for it is the vengeance of Yahweh. Take vengeance on her. As she has done, do to her. Cut the sower off from Babylon, and he who handles the sickle in the time of harvest. For fear of the oppressing sword, they will turn every one to his people, and they will run every one to his own land. Israel is a scattered sheep. The lions have driven him away. First, the king of Assyria has devoured him. And last, this Nebuchadrezzar, king of Babylon, has broken his bones. And for this reason, thus says Yahweh of hosts, the Elohim of Israel, understand, I will punish the king of Babylon and his land, as I have punished the king of Assyria. And I will bring Israel again to his habitation, and he will feed on Carmel and Bashan, and his soul will be satisfied upon Mount Ephraim and Gilead. In those days and in that time, says Yahweh, the iniquity of Israel will be sought for, and there will be none. And the sins of Yehudah will be sought for, and they will not be found, for I will pardon them whom I preserve. Go up against the land of Merathaim, against it, and against the inhabitants of Pechod. Waste and utterly destroy after them, says Yahweh, and do according to all that I have commanded you. A sound of battle is in the land, and of great destruction. How is the hammer of the whole earth cut in asunder and broken? How is Babylon become a desolation amongst the nations? I've laid a snare for you, and you are also taken, O Babylon, and you were not aware. You've been found and also caught, because you have striven against Yahweh. Yahweh has opened his armory, and has brought forth the weapons of his indignation. For this is the work of the sovereign Yahweh of hosts in the land of the Chaldeans. Come against her from the utmost border. Open her storehouses. Throw her up like heaps, and destroy her utterly. Do not let anything of her be left. Kill all her bullocks. Let them go down to the slaughter. Woe to them! For their day is come, the time of their visitation. The voice of those that flee and escape out of the land of Babylon, to declare in Zion the vengeance of Yahweh, our Elohim, the vengeance of his temple. Call together the archers against Babylon. All you that bend the bow, camp against it round about. Let none of it escape. Recompense her according to her work, according to all that she's done. Do to her, because she's been proud against Yahweh, against the Holy One of Israel. And for this reason will your young men fall in the streets, and all her men of war will be cut off in that day, says Yahweh. Understand, I am against you, O you most proud, says sovereign Yahweh of hosts, for your day is come, the time that I will visit you. And the most proud will stumble and fall, and no one will raise him up, and I will kindle a fire in his cities, and it will devour all round about him. Thus says Yahweh of hosts, the children of Israel and the children of Yehudah were oppressed together, and all that took them captives held them fast, and they refused to let them go. Their Redeemer is strong. Yahweh of hosts is his name, and he will thoroughly plead their cause, so that he can give rest to the land and disquiet the inhabitants of Babylon. A sword is on the Chaldeans, says Yahweh, and on the inhabitants of Babylon, and upon her princes and upon her wise. A sword is on the liars, and they will dote. A sword is upon her mighty men, and they will be dismayed. A sword is on their horses and on their chariots, and on all the mingled people that are in the midst of her, and they will become like women. A sword is on her treasures, and they will be robbed. A drought is on her waters, and they will be dried up. For it is the land of graven images, and they are mad on their idols. Therefore the wild beasts of the desert, with the wild beasts of the islands, will dwell there, and the owls will dwell therein. And it will no longer be inhabited forever, neither will it be dwelt in from generation to generation. Just as Elohim overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah and the neighboring cities of it, says Yahweh, so will no man remain there, neither will any son of man dwell within it. Understand, a people shall come from the north, a great nation, and many kings will be raised up from the coasts of the earth. And they will hold the bow and the lance, and they are cruel, and they will not show mercy. Their voice will roar like the sea, and they'll ride upon horses, put in array like a man to the battle against you, O daughter of Babylon. The king of Babylon has heard the report of them, and his hands have grown feeble. Anguish has taken hold of him, pangs like a woman in travail. Understand that he will come up like a lion from the swelling of Jordan to the habitation of the strong, but I will make them suddenly run away from her. And who is a chosen man that I can appoint over her? Who is like me? Who will appoint me the time? And who is that shepherd that will stand before me? For this reason hear you the counsel of Yahweh, that he has taken against Babylon, and his purposes that he has purposed against the land of the Chaldeans. Surely the least of the flock will draw them out. Surely he will make their habitation desolate with them. At the noise of the taking of Babylon, the earth is moved, and the cry is heard among the nations. End of chapter.
Show me his kindness, and how Yahweh preserves the faithful. And my Alba is full. I am amazed, so amazed. I'm amazed how great Yah is.
Micah chapter 6. Hear now what Yahweh says. Arise, contend you before the mountains, and let the hills hear your voice. Hear, O mountains, Yahweh's controversy, and you strong foundations of the earth. For Yahweh has a controversy with his people, and he will plead, he will contend with Israel. O my people, what have I done to you, and in which have I wearied you? Testify against me. For I brought you up out of the land of Egypt, and I redeemed you out of the house of servants, and I set before you Moshe, Aaron, and Miriam. O my people, remember now what Balak, king of Moab, consulted, and what Balaam the son of Beor answered him from Shittim to Gilgal, so that you might know the righteousness of Yahweh. With what will I come before Yahweh and bow myself before the high Elohim? Shall I come before him with burnt offerings and with calves of a year old? Will Yahweh be pleased with thousands of rams, or with 10,000 of rivers of oil? Will I give my firstborn for my transgression, the fruit of my body, for the sin of my soul? He has shown you, O man, what is good, and what Yahweh does require of you, to do justly, and to love mercy, and to walk humbly with your Elohim. Yahweh's voice cries to the city, and the man of wisdom will see your name. Hear the rod, and who has appointed it? Are there yet the treasures of wickedness in the house of the wicked, and the scant measure that is abominable? Will I count those pure with the wicked balances, and with the bag of deceitful weights? For the rich man of it are full of violence, and the inhabitants of it have spoken lies, and their tongue is deceitful in their mouth. And for this reason also will I make you sick in striking you, and in making you desolate because of your sins. You will eat, and you will not be satisfied, and your casting down will be in the midst of you, and you'll take hold, but will not deliver, and that which you deliver will I give up to the sword. You will sow, but you will not reap. You'll tread the olives, but you will not anoint yourselves with oil, and sweet wine, but you will not drink wine. For the statutes of Omri are kept, and all the works of the house of Ahab, and you walk in their counsels, that I should make you a desolation, and the inhabitants of it a hissing. And for this reason will you bear the reproach of my people. End of chapter.
Luke, chapter 1. Forasmuch as many have taken in hand to set forth in order a declaration of those things which are most surely believed among us, even as they delivered them to us, which from the beginning were eyewitnesses and ministers of the word, it seemed good to me also, having had perfect understanding of all things from the very first, to write unto you in order, most excellent Theophilus, that you might know the certainty of those things wherein you have been instructed. There was in the days of Herod, the king of Judea, a certain priest named Zachariah, of the course of Abia. And his wife was of the daughters of Aaron, and her name was Elizabeth. And they were both righteous before Yahweh, walking in all the commandments and ordinances of Yahweh blameless. And they had no child, because that Elizabeth was barren, and they both were now well stricken in years. And it came to pass that while he executed the priest's office before Yahweh in the order of his course, according to the custom of the priest's office, his lot was to burn incense when he went into the temple of Yahweh. And the whole multitude of the people were praying outside at the time of incense. And there appeared to him an angel of Yahweh standing on the right side of the altar of incense. And when Zacharias saw, he was troubled, and fear fell upon him. But the messenger said to him, Fear not, Zechariah, for your prayer is heard, and your wife Elizabeth shall bear to you a son, and you shall call his name John. And you shall have joy and gladness, and many shall rejoice at his birth. For he shall be great in the sight of Yahweh, and shall drink neither wine nor strong drink, and he shall be filled with the Holy Spirit, even from his mother's womb. And many of the children of Israel shall he turn to Yahweh, their Elohim. And he shall go before him in the spirit and power of Eliah, to turn the hearts of the fathers to the children, and the disobedient to the wisdom of the just, to make ready a people prepared for Yahweh. And Zechariah said to the messenger, How shall I know this? For I am an old man, and my wife is well stricken in years. And the angel answering said to him, I am Gabriel, that stands in the presence of Yahweh, and I am sent to speak to you, and to show you these glad tidings. And behold, you shall be dumb, and not able to speak until the day that these things shall be performed, because you have not believed my words, which shall be fulfilled in their season. And the people waited for Zechariah, and marveled that he stayed so long in the temple. And when he came out, he could not speak to them. And they perceived that he had seen a vision in the temple, for he beckoned to them and remained speechless. And it came to pass that as soon as the days of his ministration were accomplished, he departed to his own house. And after those days his wife Elizabeth conceived, and hid herself for 5 months, saying, Thus has Yahweh dealt with me in the days wherein he looked upon me, to take away my reproach among men. And in the 6th month the angel Gabriel was sent from Elohim to a city of Galilee named Nazareth, to a virgin espoused to a man whose name was Joseph, of the house of David. And the virgin's name was Miriam. And the angel came in to her and said, Hail, highly favored, Yahweh is with you. Blessed are you among women. And when she saw him, she was troubled at his saying, and cast in her mind what manner of salutation this should be. And the angel said to her, Fear not, Miriam, for you have found favor with Yahweh. And behold, you shall conceive in your womb, and bring forth a son, and shall call his name YHWH. And he shall be great, and shall be called the Son of the Highest. And Yahweh Elohim shall give to him the throne of his father David. And he shall reign over the house of Jacob forever, and of his kingdom there shall be no end. Then said Miriam to the messenger, How shall this be, seeing that I do not know a man? And the messenger answered and said to her, The Holy Spirit shall come upon you, and the power of the Highest shall overshadow you. Therefore also that holy thing which shall be born of you shall be called the Son of Yahweh. And behold, your cousin Elizabeth, she has also conceived a son in her old age, and this is the 6th month with her, who was called barren, for with Yahweh nothing shall be impossible. And Miriam said, Behold the handmaid of Yahweh, be it according to your word to me. And the messenger departed from her. And Miriam arose in those days, and went into the hill country with haste, into a city of Judah, and entered into the house of Zechariah, and saluted Elizabeth. And it came to pass that when Elizabeth heard the salutation of Miriam, the babe leaped in her womb. And Elizabeth was filled with the Holy Spirit, and she spoke out with a loud voice, and said, Blessed are you among women, and blessed is the fruit of your womb. And how is this to happen to me, that the mother of my sovereign should come to me? For as soon as the voice of your salutation sounded in my ears, the babe leaped in my womb for joy. And blessed is she that believed, for there shall be a performance of those things which were told her from Yahweh. And Miriam said, My soul does magnify Yahweh, and my spirit has rejoiced in Elohim, my Savior, for he has regarded the low estate of his handmaiden. For from here onward all generations shall call me blessed. For he that is mighty has done to me great things, and holy is his name, and his mercy is on them that fear him from generation to generation. He has shown strength with his arm. He has scattered the proud in the imagination of their hearts. He has put down the mighty from their seats, and exalted them of low degree. He has filled the hungry with good things, and the rich he has sent empty away. He has given help to his servant Israel in remembrance of his mercy, as he spoke to our fathers, to Abraham, and to his seed forever. And Miriam abode with her about 3 months, and returned to her own house. And now Elizabeth's full time came, that she should be delivered, and she brought forth a son. And her neighbors and her cousins heard how Yahweh had shown great mercy upon her, and they rejoiced with her. And it came to pass that on the 8th day they came to circumcise the child, and they called him Zechariah, after the name of his father. And his mother answered and said, No, but he shall be called John. And they said to her, There's none of your kindred that is called by this name. And they made signs to his father, how he would have him called. And he asked for a writing table, and wrote, saying, His name is John. And they all marveled, and his mouth was opened immediately, and his tongue loosed, and he spoke and praised Yahweh. And fear came on all those that dwelt round about them, and all these sayings were noised abroad throughout all the hill country of Judea. And all they that heard them laid them up in their hearts, saying, What manner of child shall this be? And the hand of Yahweh was with him. And his father Zechariah was filled with the Holy Spirit, and prophesied, saying, Blessed be Yahweh, Elohim of Israel, for he has visited and redeemed his people, and has raised up a horn of salvation for us in the house of his servant David, as he spoke by the mouth of his holy prophets, which have been since the world began, that we should be saved from our enemies, and from the hand of all that hate us, to perform the mercy promised to our fathers, and to remember his holy covenant, the oath which he swore to our father Abraham, that he would grant to us, that we, being delivered out of the hand of our enemies, might serve him without fear, in holiness and righteousness before him all the days of our life. And you, child, shall be called the prophet of the highest, for you shall go before the face of Yahweh to prepare his ways, to give knowledge of salvation to his people by the remission of their sins, through the tender mercy of our Elohim, whereby the dayspring from on high has visited us, to give light to them that sit in darkness and in the shadow of death, to guide our feet into the way of peace. And the child grew and waxed strong in spirit, and was in deserts until the day of his showing to Israel. End of chapter.
my conscience too heavy had grown. The Dam of Yeshua is my only salvation. The death of Messiah could only atone. I am redeemed, but not with silver. I am bought, but not with gold. I'm bought with the price, the Dam of Yeshua, precious price of love untold. No silver nor gold has attained my redemption. The way to the kingdom cannot be bought. The Dam of Yeshua is my only salvation. The death of Messiah could only atone. I am redeemed, but not with silver. I am bought, but not with gold, but with the price, the Dam of Yeshua, precious price of love untold.
Sing that again. Come on, Yisrael.
I am redeemed, but not with silver. I am bought, but not with gold, but with the price, the Dam of Yeshua, precious price of love untold. Precious price of love untold. Precious price of love untold.
Come on and lift your hands. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
The book of 1 Peter, chapter 1. Peter, an apostle of Yeshua the Messiah, to the strangers scattered throughout Pontus, Galatia, Cappadocia, Asia, and Bithynia, elect according to the foreknowledge of Yahweh the Father, through sanctification of the Spirit, unto obedience and sprinkling of the blood of Yeshua the Messiah, grace to you, and peace be multiplied. Blessed be the Elohim and Father of our Master Yeshua the Messiah, which according to his abundant mercy has begotten us again into a lively hope by the resurrection of Yeshua the Messiah from the dead, to an inheritance incorruptible and undefiled, and that does not fade away, reserved in heaven for you, who are kept by the power of Yahweh through faith to salvation, ready to be revealed in the last time. Wherein you greatly rejoice, though now for a season, if need be, you are in heaviness through manifold temptations, that the trial of your faith, being much more precious than of gold that perishes, though it be tried with fire, might be found to praise and honor and dignity at the appearing of Yeshua the Messiah,
whom having not seen, you love, and whom, though now you see him not, yet believing, you rejoice with joy unspeakable and full of praise, receiving the end of your faith, even the salvation of your souls, of which salvation the prophets have inquired and searched diligently, who prophesied of the grace that should come to you, searching what manner of time the Spirit of the Messiah which was in them did signify, when it testified beforehand the sufferings of the Messiah, and the esteem that should follow. Unto whom it was revealed, that not unto themselves, but unto us they did minister the things, which are now reported unto you by them that have preached the good news to you, with the Holy Spirit sent down from heaven, which things the angels desire to look into. Wherefore, gird up the loins of your mind, be sober, and hope to the end for the grace that is to be brought to you at the revelation of Yeshua the Messiah, as obedient children, not fashioning yourselves according to the former lusts in your ignorance, but as he which has called you is holy, so be you holy in all manner of conduct. Because it is written, Be ye holy, for I am holy. And if you call on the Father, who without respect of persons judges according to every man's work, pass the time of your traveling here in fear, forasmuch as you know that you were not redeemed with corruptible things such as silver and gold from your vain manner of living received by tradition from your fathers, but with the precious blood of the Messiah, as of a lamb without blemish and without spot, who truly was foreordained before the foundation of the world, but was manifest in these last times for you, who by him do believe in Yahweh, that raised him from the dead, and gave him honor, that your faith and hope might be in Yahweh. Seeing you have purified your souls in obeying the truth unto unfeigned love of the brethren, see that you love one another with a pure heart fervently, being born again, not of corruptible seed, but of incorruptible, by the word of Yahweh, which lives and abides forever. For all flesh is as grass, and all the honor of man is the flower of grass. The grass withers, and the flower thereof falls away. But the word of Yahweh endures forever. And this is the word which by the good news is preached to you. End of chapter.
And all in the sight of all of the nations. They shall be to you a cloud by day and a fire that burns in the night. Shamak, Shamak, O ye Israel. With all of your soul and with all of your might, and all this Torah, it shall be in your heart, and it shall be your righteousness if you do